Good day, everyone. I welcome you once again to Lead X, the only conversation that inspires change. So today we are discussing a very interesting topic, which is the sharing of intimate pictures on social media. So if you are planning to share your intimate pictures or you have already done this, kindly pay attention to this conversation because you might learn a lot from it. So before we dive into it, I'd like to introduce another counselor. We have another counselor with us here, and I would like him to introduce himself. Hello, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hello, everyone. My name is Raymond Apia. I am a level 300 law student, and I'm a trained peer counselor.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So I'd like to ask you that is the sharing of intimate pictures and videos, is it bad or good?
Well, I think the answer to that is very straightforward. So morally, if you are looking at it from a moral perspective, it is clear. If you look at the implications it has on the victim, it is definitely bad. And we have the second angle, which is the legal perspective. And if you look at the legal framework applicable, the sharing of intimate pictures is a crime, and therefore it is definitely bad.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask. You said it is bad. What if they are married couples, right? And they don't live together, and they decided to have each other's intimate pictures. How is that bad? Because they are married, and it's between them.
So if you look at that situation where two people are married, the law focuses on the non-consensual sharing of intimate pictures. So in this case, if they are married and they are doing it in between without posting it online, affecting other people, then the law is fine with that. However, if you go outside the parameters of consent and you share it online without the other people, other person's consent, then there are legal implications.
So what are some of the reasons? What are some of the reasons why you think people share these kind of intimate pictures? Like, what are some of the reasons you think people do that?
Well, there are a number of reasons. The first one is people are in love. As young people, people on university campus, lots of people are in love, and just by that notion that they are in love, they think that it's fine. Let me just send it to my partner. Let me just catch up with a trend. And secondly, people also do it for validation. People think, oh, everyone is doing it. And if you are in love, you are in a relationship, your partner will be asking for it. So if I don't do it, then I'm missing out. So these are some of the reasons why people now share intimate pictures of themselves.
Yeah. So basically, the issue is that the issue is not them sharing it. The point is that when it comes out and it's posted for public to see it, that is where the issue is.
Yes, and it's not necessarily that the issue is not with them sharing.
Okay.
The issue is always on consent, right? So we have two aspects. When you share, even if it's a private sharing to another person and it's not online, as long as it is without the consent of the other person, then it is a crime which is punishable under the Cybersecurity Offences Act. And again, even if it is with the consent of that person and you share it online, as long as it is circulating, other people are seeing it, then again, the law has a problem with that. And I would like to plead with everyone to refrain from that action.
Yeah. So those of you who have been sharing this, please stop. Okay. So I'd like to ask you, what are some of the effects it has on the individual involved in some of these issues?
Well, there are a lot of grievous effects that it has. An example is emotional distress. So imagine your pictures going out there online, everyone seeing it, commenting, people insulting you up and there. It has a lot of psychological effects. And over the years, if you look at the trend, there have been girls or even boys whose videos went out there and they attempted to hurt themselves. Second, reputational damage. Now, if you want to pursue a career, they always look at the internet, what went on, what is going on. And imagine you going for an interview and you walk into the interview room and everyone has seen such pictures of you. So that is very grave.
Okay. So my next question, I think you spoke about it earlier, but I'll bring it again. So is it a crime to share intimate pictures?
Yes, it is. It is a crime. So in 2020, a law was passed, the Cyber Security Offences Act, that was passed in 2020. So it criminalizes the non-consensual sharing of images. It can be images, video, as well as it is intimate pictures. It is criminalized. And now there are two aspects. We have the non-consensual sharing, which is just posting it to another person, posting it online. And that attracts a penalty of not less than 1 year and not more than 3 years. And we also have the second aspect, which is sextortion. So basically, sexual extortion, breaking it down. So we have instances where people would have intimate pictures of other people and they would say, if you don't send me 500 cedis, if you don't give me this or that or do this for me, then I'll leak the videos online, I'll leak the pictures online. In that case, the law is very strict on that. So if you do that, which is sextortion, the minimum penalty is 10 years and the maximum penalty is 25 years under Section 66 and 67 of the Cyber Security Act.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. This is the first time I'm actually getting to know about this. So let's say as a peer counselor, a student comes to you and tell you he or she is facing this kind of issue. What are you going to tell the person?
Well, first, as peer counselors, we are limited on the kind of things we can do. And this is a very egregious situation for anyone to find themselves in. So the first thing I would do is refer the person to the Counseling and Gender Directorate, where we have professional people who have been trained in such instances. Secondly, unfortunately, now we have a police station on UPAC campus. So as I said, such actions have very they have legal implications. So you go to the police service and you report. They have a cyber offenses unit. They will take it up from there. So any evidence that you can gather, maybe the person threatened you through WhatsApp, online, you try and gather as much evidence as you can and you present it to the police. And as I said, the law will not let that person rest. They will pursue it to the end.
Okay, so let's say the person is arrested, the person who is extorting money from the victim is arrested. So how is it going to be done? Is it as they will go to court or straightforward? They're just going to arrest the person or imprison the person?
Well, again, that is why I hit on evidence. So once there's evidence against the person, the police would obviously conduct their investigations. And if necessary, they would arrest the person and put the person through the legal process where the person would be given a chance to defend themselves. And if they are found guilty of such an offense, then they would be convicted.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So before we wrap up, is there anything you have to tell your fellow peers, or is there anything you have to tell anyone who is planning or anyone who is involved in these kind of issues?
Well, there are two things. First, please refrain from the non-consensual sharing of intimate pictures, because as you heard during the course of the interview, there are so many adverse effects it can have on you, not just now, not just your emotional health or your reputation, but going into the future. You don't know where you will find yourself and these things will catch up with you. So please refrain. And secondly, I mentioned the various effects, emotional distress and so on. That is why the Counseling Directorate, the Counseling and Gender Directorate, we are here for you. As I said, we have trained professionals who are here to deal with all your issues. So once that has happened to you, come to us. They will take you through the process. We will make sure that your needs are catered for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you too.
We are grateful. So that's all we have for this segment. Thank you very much for joining us. And I was your host for today, and I am Kandel Pesison Viala. Thank you.